I, 28M, don't know how to tell my wife, 24F, that I cheated on her while she had postpartum depression. I know I'm a POS and I don't deserve my wife and our two beautiful sons, 4 and 2. I know that by telling her this will be the end of our marriage. She will not forgive me. There will be no talking through it. She will tell me to pack my bags and leave immediately. I can't live with the guilt of not telling her, but I can't live without her. I don't know what to do. Basically, my wife and I always wanted a traditional family. I would go to work, and she would stay home with the kids. We both always wanted a large family, a house in the suburbs, a dog, the whole thing. We got married when she was 19 and I was 23. She got pregnant right away, and our first son was born 9 months to the day after our wedding. He was such an easy, happy baby. We were all so happy. My wife was super passionate about cooking, arts and crafts, and home decor. Our home was always spotless, despite having a baby and dog. We had a great marriage and a healthy bedroom life. We were both naive enough to think that being parents was always going to be easy. We started trying for another as soon as the doctor cleared us. It took about 8 months for her to get pregnant, which stressed her out a lot because she got pregnant so easily with our first. This pregnancy was different. She had no energy. She gained a lot of weight and was unrecognizable. With our first son, she only had a small bump and you wouldn't have even known she was pregnant if you saw her from behind or if she was wearing an oversized shirt. With this pregnancy, she blew up like a balloon. Her face and feet were swollen. I sound like an asshole for saying this, but she looked like a monster. We didn't have intimacy for the entire pregnancy. Sometimes she would try to initiate, but I always turned her down because I was repulsed by her. She had a difficult birth, and our son was born with some health issues, relatively minor, thankfully, but enough to give us a scare. My wife blamed herself for our son's health issues. In the heat of the moment, I told her that if she had been more active during pregnancy, then our son probably would have been fine. She just kept sinking further and further into depression. She stopped brushing her hair and started to mat. I would come home from work at 5 p.m. to find our older son still in his pajamas. The dirty dishes were piled a mile high in the sink. She stopped showering regularly, and she refused to go on a jog to lose the baby weight even though I tried to encourage her by saying I'd cook dinner if she did. Our son's physical needs were being met, but emotionally she was checked out. I started fantasizing about being single and not having a wife or kids. I started going to the gym and the bar after work instead of going home to them. I met Cassidy, 19 female, at the gym and we really hit it off. She was vocal about never wanting kids, and when I would complain about my wife to her, she would pile on too. I was happy at the time because I wanted someone to validate me for being such an asshole, but looking back I'm disgusted. Pretty soon Cassidy and I were dating, and I was having a whole separate life behind my wife's back. After a few months, my wife slowly started to return to her old self. She started taking more pride in her appearance and started cooking from scratch again instead of ordering takeout or frozen food. Our home was clean again, and our younger son's health issues were improving. I fell in love with her all over again. I started to realize that Cassidy wasn't as exciting and interesting as I thought she was. She was actually quite dull and stupid and had no real opinions or interests outside of partying and TikTok. I started to suspect that she didn't actually like me either and was just flattered by the attention of a married man, and I stupidly enabled it by making her feel special and better than my wife. I ended things with her a few months later, and she didn't even seem to care. All in, I was cheating on my wife for just over a year. My wife has recently started asking to try for a third baby, and the guilt all just hit me at once. I feel paralyzed. I have nightmares that she finds out from someone else. I've stopped eating and sleeping. I'm starting to get aches and pains from the stress. I don't know what to do. I know I'm an asshole. I know I don't deserve her. But I don't know how to tell her without breaking her. She's amazing and she never deserved this. Revel in comments. Commenter, you are an absolutely abhorrent person. Your wife was so depressed her hair was matted. I want you to think about that for a few minutes. Think about how low and terrible she must have felt to get to that point. Instead of being a kind, compassionate, caring partner and helping her get better, you went out and found someone barely legal to sleep with. I hope she leaves your ass and finds someone who will love her, because you do not. You love what she gives you. You love what she does for you. You do not love her. Commenter, did you even try to get her help with the PPD? Good Lord. If the guilt is eating you alive, tell her. Everything. All at once. No trickle-truthing. No downplaying or minimizing. Apologize, commit to therapy, offer a post-nup, whatever you think would help her to get through the implosion. Then the ball is in her court, and it's her choice whether to kick you to the curb. Commenter, all I can say is I am so glad my husband was right by my side in the thick of my postpartum depression, anxiety, and rage. Edited to add that you simply need to tell her. You need to sit her down. Don't try and hold her hand, don't try and say, but I love you. You didn't love her when she needed you the most. Update 1. I really didn't expect the last post to blow up so much and even reach TikTok. I'm just going to post an update, and then I'll probably delete this account. As per somebody's advice, I took the day off work, dropped our 2 sons off at their grandparent house, and sat my wife down. I came fully clean. I made no excuses, told her I didn't expect forgiveness, and that she had every right to say or do whatever she wanted. She didn't respond for a while, but then very softly and quietly told me that she wanted me out of the house the next day, and that we were done. She didn't scream or cry, or show any emotion. I asked her if she wanted to say anything else, and she said no. I told her I was sorry, and she said she didn't want to hear it. We sat in silence for what felt like forever, while she stared blankly into space. When our sons came home, seeing how expertly she was able to put on a brave face and not let them know anything was wrong broke my heart. It hit me like a ton of bricks that she was used to doing this, and it was all my fault. I slept in the guest room that night, but didn't get much sleep. The next morning, our older son asked me why Mommy was crying again last night and said he wanted to cheer her up. My wife refuses to speak to me, look at me, or acknowledge me in any way. I heard her on the phone to her best friend who lives in another country. She told her that she thought she had found a good one and that she was going to break the mold. Her grandfather walked out and left her grandma with nothing. Her dad walked out and left her mom with nothing. I'm a piece of shit, just like every other man in her life. I left today, and she didn't even look at me or say anything. She just continued watching TV and crocheting as if nothing was happening. I'm staying at my parents' house, and they are disgusted with me. My mom cried when I told her. They love my wife like their own daughter. I let everybody down. I deserve everything coming my way. Revel in comments. Commenter. Wow, you couldn't keep your duck out of someone else while your wife was suffering with PPD after birthing your child? What a stand-up guy. Look, everyone. He's sad as now ex-wife didn't cry and beg him to stay. Gross dude. Really fucking gross. Commenter. You aren't sorry. You are reveling in being the worst person in the world. Your entire focus continues to be on yourself. Your entire post is about how her response made you feel. Nowhere do you state that you intend to make amends, a critical component of true contrition. The only remorse you seem to have is on bad this is making you feel. You made the utterly selfish choice of telling your wife to alleviate your guilt, not for her sake. Why weren't you willing to live with the guilt? Because just like your decision to cheat, you were only thinking about yourself, what you wanted, and what felt good for you. Although your marriage is obviously over, or should be, if you wanted to begin to be a decent person, you'd be focused on how to make amends, how to make the situation easier on your ex-wife, and most importantly, how to ease the transition into a broken home for your children. How good of you to run away to your parents and leave all the hard work for your wife. Commenter. Well, hope getting your duck wet was worth blowing up your family. Raise your sons to be better men than you are if you can. Story 2. My best friend, 22 female, is giving up a full-ride scholarship to be with her boyfriend of less than 3 months. Throwaway for anonymity reasons. My best friend has a full-ride scholarship, tuition, rent, books from our university. She is a very book-smart girl and has been on the dean's list almost every semester. This is our 3rd year of college. The issue is that she is a gullible person. Even though she is book-smart, she will get caught up in things like multi-level marketing schemes. She will date older men who take advantage of her. Many things like that. While she was home over the summer, she and her old high school crush 20M started hanging out. At the end of the summer, he officially asked her to be his girlfriend. I like the guy and think he is better for her than her past flings, but they are getting very serious very fast. Last month, she told me she was thinking about transferring to his university. I told her that was ridiculous as she would give up her scholarship and have to take out loans. Turns out she applied to transfer anyway. Today, she got her acceptance notice and couldn't be more excited. I've already told her this is a bad idea, but she is so gullible, and her mother is the same way. Her mom thinks this is true love, 2 small-town lovebirds crossing paths again. My roommate keeps saying that this is just like her parents' romance, and she needs to give this relationship everything. Oh, her parents are divorced, by the way. Is there anything I can say or do to help her reconsider? I already voiced my opinion once, and it didn't do anything. TLDR, my best friend might give up her full scholarship to transfer to her boyfriend's school. She is a gullible person, and they have only been together for 3 months, if even that. Relevant comments. Commenter. Honestly, this is the kind of thing where you just need to let it play out. You already voiced your concerns. That's the best you can do sometimes. If you push harder, then you'll only be pushing her away. Besides, who are you to say that this won't work out well in the long run? OP. It's not that I think they won't work out. They might, and I'd be very happy. It's the fact that she'll be giving up her full scholarship to go. And no, her family can't afford it. When we talked about her transferring, she mentioned that even if she got a transfer student scholarship, she'd have to take out $20,000 to $30,000 in loans. It's an out-of-state school. Her mom is willing to co-sign because true love. But I think that if it is true love, they can wait another year until she graduates. Then again, I might not be able to do anything. I at least want to sit her down one more time, so I feel like I did everything I could if this blows up. Commenter. It's ultimately her life though. If she values love more so than financial advantages, then that's her call to make. I agree with your assessment, but if I were you, I would respect your friend's wishes, however much I detest it. The role of a great friend is to give advice and support even when they don't take your advice. OP. I'm definitely going to talk to her again, but I will have to support her if she chooses to follow him. Thanks. Update, 3.5 years later. Just found this throwaway account and thought I should give an update. My friend and I are now 25, and we're still close. She did transfer schools and lose her scholarship. She also graduated late because of the transfer. In all, it cost her more than $30,000 in student loans, which she regrets. Things did not work out between her and her boyfriend. He really wanted to live a party boy lifestyle with her at home to cook and clean up after him. They broke up 1 year after she transferred. She still had a semester left, which was really difficult and lonely because she had no friends aside from him and his social circle. After graduation, she got a job as a teacher in her hometown. So she does have a way to pay back the loans. She's pretty happy. She's now engaged to a different guy she started dating 2 years ago. They got together right after she moved home. Yes, it's fast, but they live together with no issues. They aren't going to start planning a wedding until COVID eases up. She's less gullible now and more skeptical of her mom's advice. Her experience really opened her eyes to the consequences of her choices. TLDR, my friend learned an expensive lesson, but her life turned out okay. She ended up where she probably would have if she didn't transfer, but $30,000 in a hole. She'll be the first to tell you to prioritize your future over a short-term relationship. Relevant comments. Commenter. I'm glad it all worked for her, but that last comment made me laugh too hard. No kidding, turning down a full scholarship for a boyfriend isn't the smartest move. OP. I was against it the whole time. I was worried I'd lose her friendship over it, but she respected my honesty. Commenter. Did her mom ever admit it was a mistake to pour romantic comedy nonsense into her daughter's head? OP. I'm still not her mom's biggest fan, no. She's all into the romantic comedy nonsense with my friend's new relationship, too. But my friend has stronger boundaries now and throws most of her mom's advice out the window. Story 3. I, 37 male, want to try and get back with the one who got away, 36 female. Is there any chance of that happening? I've been tearing myself apart just thinking about her and how things ended. I can't stop no matter how much I try. This is going to be a long post, and I know I'm writing a lot of rambling and nonsense. When I, 37 male, was 20, I met the most beautiful woman, Lila, who was 19 at the time. She was both inside and out. She had the most gorgeous dark brown hair that looked red and purple when the light hit it just right, these golden brown eyes and lashes that looked like a doll's, freckles on her rosy plump cheeks, and a single dimple when she smiled a certain way. She was a year younger than me, but yet she was always so much smarter and mature in every aspect. We dated for 2 years. I met her parents, and her no-nonsense cop father definitely gave me the stank eye at first, but he grew to like me. Her mom adored me right off the bat, always commenting on how my green eyes complemented her daughter's golden brown eyes in the most romantic way. I still don't fully understand what that means, but I like the compliment. Her younger siblings loved playing in the backyard with me. She met my parents and my 2 brothers, and they all loved her right off the bat. My younger brother was the same age as her, and they were going to college together and would help each other study in some of the shared classes their majors had. Hell, even my 6-month-old dog I had adopted before even meeting her seemed to like her more than he liked me. She told me her dreams, how she wanted to own a home that was tucked away from everything but not completely isolated. How she wanted to be a doctor, and that she wanted to help people. She wanted to be a pediatrician. She loved kids. She always said she wanted a family. She didn't care how many kids she had. She just wanted to experience the ups and downs of motherhood. She wanted the good, the bad, the ugly. I listened to her go on and on about baby names and how she would design a nursery. At the time, I thought I wanted kids too. I wanted to marry this girl and give her the family she so clearly wanted. She was my Lila. I wanted to stay with her forever. I was young, but I was in love with her. After 2 years of dating, I started to realize that I didn't want to have kids. I thought I was just being around too many of my bratty cousins, and that was turning me off from the idea. But the more I thought about it, the more the idea of having to be a father made me sick. I would get headaches and my stomach would twist in knots thinking about having to take care of some screaming, crying, and shitting little thing, and then have it grow into a tantrum-throwing toddler, a bratty child, and then some moody teenager. I didn't want to be held down like that. I wanted to travel, have money, be free. After a few drinks one night, I ended up telling all of this to Lila. I remember she went quiet and simply said, "I won't try and change your mind, but I'm not giving up my dreams." I remember scoffing and rolling my eyes, telling her that we weren't going to have kids. She stood up from the couch and said, "You might not want that anymore, but I still do. I'm not going to try and force either one of our minds to change, then one of us will end up miserable." I realized she was breaking up with me, and even though she was so calm and mature about it, I remember feeling so angry. She was walking around the apartment gathering her things and being completely silent. I kept arguing with her, trying to change her mind. I kept telling her that it was stupid to want kids, that they were annoying and a waste of time. When she still didn't budge, I started to insult her. I said she was stupid, that she was a weak woman for wanting to be a mom, that she should just give up on being a doctor so she could push out her brats. Lila finally started to respond to me, telling me to calm down, that we simply wanted different things in life, and that was okay. I hated her in that moment, that she wasn't agreeing with me. I remember punching the wall of our apartment, kicking a door, throwing anything I could get my hands on. She watched me wreck our living room and kitchen, not saying a word. She walked past me and left. This whole thing happened over a few hours. In less than a day, I lost the love of my life, and my apartment was now trashed. Of course, news of why we broke up and my reaction to it reached my family. My mom cried hearing how I reacted. My dad gave me the coldest look I'd ever seen. My brothers both said I was an idiot, with my younger brother saying I was lucky Lila hadn't called the cops on me during that. That was 15 years ago. I've tried to have relationships since, but they never lasted more than a few weeks. I travel around for work, but now I'm back in the same town Lila lives in. Lila got married, got her doctorate, had kids, and is still a pediatrician last I heard. I know my younger brother still kept some contact with her in the first few years after the breakup. He even invited her to his wedding, but she declined because she didn't want to cause drama. I'm back in her town, the town we both grew up in, dated in, lived in, and where she currently lives. I can't stop thinking about her. I miss her so much right now. I miss her sweet perfume that smelled like a bakery, her strawberry shampoo, the way her hair looks in the light. She's 36 now, and I want to reach out to her and make amends with her. I want to hold and hug her one last time, to tell her I love her, and I'm sorry. I don't know if that's a good idea, but a part of me needs closure. I don't know what to do. I want to sweep her off her feet and have her be my love again, but I don't know if that ship has sailed already. I have a date with my ex tomorrow, and I'm nervous August 11th, 2024. I recently reached out to an ex-girlfriend of mine to see about meeting up and catching up on life. I didn't expect her to respond to me, as we ended on bad terms. She responded, we ended up messaging for a while, and did some catching up. I finally asked her if she'd be willing to see me in person, and said she'd be willing to meet up with me. I'm over the moon, but I'm also nervous about going on a date with her. She's 36 and I'm 37, and our last time being on dates with one another was close to 15 years ago. Our date is tomorrow evening after she gets off work. I'm scared I'll mess things up again. I already feel like she's being too generous with me by even agreeing to speak to me again, let alone see me in person, but I'll take any chance I can to try and make things right with her. I can't shake this horrible feeling in the back of my throat that I'll mess something up, that I'll just end up more heartbroken than before, that I'll come on too strong and she won't want to see me ever again. I've bought her favorite flowers for her. I've already made sure to start re-wearing her favorite cologne of mine from all those years ago. I've been practicing what I need and what I want to say to her. I have no idea how this date's going to go, but I just need to type out these feelings of nervousness I have. Update. Following my last post, I reached out to Lila. I had to. I know a lot of people wanted me to never contact her again, despite how I wanted to make amends with her. So I reached out to her, and she responded, and we chatted back and forth a bit. After a bit of this, I asked her if she wanted to meet up and basically let her set all the ground rules. She agreed, and 3 days ago we went out on a date. She is just as beautiful as she was when we were together. Her figure filled out, and she finally lost the baby fat on her face, but she was still the same woman I fell in love with all those years ago. We sat down and talked. I didn't want to talk much about myself, but she asked about my life, so I had to. She asked about my job, my family, how I'd been. Typical catching up stuff. I'll admit I was zoned out for most of this, and I was operating on autopilot to keep my nerves from taking over. I just wanted to grab her and hold her, kiss her, make her mine against. I don't think I realized just how much I missed her until she was right in front of me. Finally, when she was done asking about me, I finally got to ask about her and how she's been. She got married 11 years ago, so 4 years after our breakup. She has 2 daughters, an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. I saw how happy she was when she talked about them, and I couldn't help but feel jealous and guilty. I should have been the one to have children with her, but I was stupid, and now she had kids with someone that wasn't me. I asked about her husband, and turns out she's a widow. He died 7 years ago while she was pregnant with her youngest. It was unexpected according to her, but that she's done her best to move on and hold herself together and appear unaffected by it all for her daughters. I asked her if she was seeing anyone, and she said no. I asked her if she ever thought about me after our breakup, and she got vague with her answers. I told her she could tell me blunt what she was thinking. Lila said that she was very depressed after our breakup. She had built a future of us in her head, and she felt like I broke it on a whim with no warning. She said she lost her first real relationship and all the dreams she had with me when we broke up. She admitted that she had been so attached and in love with me that for a while she almost tried to convince herself that she didn't want kids, but no matter what she did, she couldn't stop herself from wanting to be a mom, and she knew that if she gave that up voluntarily, she would be miserable for the rest of her life. I asked her if I scared her that night, if she felt threatened by me at all. She said the yelling overwhelmed her, and while the commotion frightened her, she wouldn't say she feared for her safety or life, so that gave me hope. I apologized to her about how we broke up and told her I had regretted everything I did and said that night. She said she had moved on and forgiven me years ago. She always was a very forgiving and kind person, part of the reason I fell in love with her in the first place. I asked her if she was willing to give me another chance and let me back in her life. She was hesitant and got quiet for a moment. I could feel myself panicking when that happened. She said that she didn't mind me being in her life, but that I'd have to regain her trust in order for her to consider even trying to date me. I was disappointed, frustrated, and very disheartened, but I knew if I came on too strong, she'd turn me away completely. I told her I'd be happy to be in her life any way that I can, and that with her permission I'd be working to prove I deserved a second chance at romance. I'm happy to have Lila Semi back in my life, and I'm going to work on proving to her that we should get back together. I hope that we can have the family and life she always talked to me about. I know there's still time, but the clock is ticking on it. I'm hoping that one day I'll be posting for advice on the family we'll have together if all things go well. Update. Should I ask her to be my official girlfriend? So me, 37 male, and this woman, 36 female, have been seeing each other for a bit under a month now. It's been casual meetups and dates, no intimacy, as she wants to wait. We used to date in the past, broke up, but now we're seeing each other again. Is it too early to ask her to be my official girlfriend again? I feel like we're acting like a couple without the label, which is frustrating. I've met her kids and given them a handful of kids too and from school. I've spent the night at her house once. I bring her flowers to her work and to every date we have. I feel like we're a couple, so is it appropriate to ask her to be my official girlfriend? Update: my girlfriend is pregnant. She's happy about it, I'm not. It was just casual dating for a few months, and we've only been intimate a few times. She isn't on any birth control, and she made it clear she wasn't going to get on any, so if I wanted to be intimate with her, it was going to be on my end. I was stupid and didn't use protection, and now she's pregnant. She's only about 4 weeks, caught it during her routine blood work at the doctor's office. She's surprisingly optimistic about this. I am not. She's already thinking ahead and planning about putting parts of her paycheck aside to prepare for the baby, and has already started to eat a bit healthier. I don't think I want this. She has 2 kids from a previous relationship that I like enough, but I don't think I can deal with a baby and toddler stage. She keeps telling me that it'll all be okay, that everything happens for a reason, and the universe had a plan for this, but I'm getting real tired of that hippie bullshit. I just wish I could go back in time and stop this whole thing from happening. How do I talk with her about this? She's already so happy and attached to this thing, but I just feel panic whenever I think about this thing being born. I need advice quickly.